All right, we are back live on Steel City, and I'm your host, Andre Duke. How is everybody doing this morning? I'm coming at you early this morning. We're doing a live stream for the college football show tonight. Just thought I would let everybody know. If you watch the college football show, don't be alarmed. Tonight, it's going to start, I believe, around 5:30. We're going to do that. UCF Boise State, number 25 Boise State, taking on UCF. But anyway, we're not here to talk about college football. We are here to talk Steelers. If you can do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, help us grow this thing. Eventually, we are going to put we're going to put this channel or this show on its own channel eventually whenever we get get it there to where it needs to go. But just retweeting some stuff here. So there is that. Let's get into it. Some unrelated Steeler topics that we have. Started out with everything that is dominating the news media. This is where the Browns have narrowed down their quarterback choices. It sounds like Shedeur Sanders is going to be the QB3 on the roster. Don't 100% know how that is going to turn out. There is a lot of speculation. Zach Smith on Pound Town put it out there. Could we possibly see Shedeur on the practice squad? Would he get claimed? There's a lot of if nuts and buts and candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Christmas. I think that's how it goes. But that's just there on the viewing side of things for the Browns. I don't think there's a question mark of who's going to start in Baltimore or Cincinnati. Just throwing it out there. So there is that. The Steelers made the cut downs to the 53 man. We'll dive into that. Just clearing some extra stuff up. But here are the Super Bowl tiers via Fox. Top contenders: Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Lions. One of the bigger things that I'm looking at is, are the Lions going to be the be all end all? Are the Detroit Lions a team losing both coordinators, losing for as much as they have this offseason? Are they going to be able to repeat that success and get it going and get it moving forward? Losing Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, both of them guys got head coaching jobs, so that's kind of where that is at on that end of it. What are we looking as far as one break away? I'm really shocked that the Steelers are there, just for the simple fact of we have not seen Aaron Rodgers really throw it. He had a decent year with the Jets last year. I think mobility is going to be a big question mark. Maybe he'll be more mobile this year coming off of the Achilles, but you got to remember he did play for the Jets, and the Jets, last time I checked, are the New York Jets. Hopefully Aaron Glenn can get it turned around, but seen it way too much up there in New York. But Houston, I don't know about Houston being that close. I would say they would be more in the up and coming tier for me. That's just kind of me. And I would actually flip flop the Packers in Detroit on this graphic because I would say as long as Green Bay stays healthy, I think they got a good a shot to win it as anybody. Cincinnati's got to get way better on defense. They were ranked towards the bottom. They got the Hendricks kid coming back. They got that deal done. Got the receivers locked up. They bring in Al Golden from Notre Dame. Got to see if Al Golden's style and his scheme is going to work there in Cincinnati. I mean, it can't get any worse than what it was. So I think the only way for Cincinnati to go on defense, the only way they can go is up. I think anything will be a highly, highly big improvement over last year. The Commanders, I would put the Commanders in up and comers. I don't think they're a breakaway. I think Jalen Daniels he's got it's going to sound like a criticism, but normally quarterbacks in year 2 take a step back. That's just kind of where that is at typically. So Jalen Daniels, got to see it. They re-signed Terry McLaurin. Maybe there is no sophomore slump for Jalen Daniels, but the thing of it is CJ Stroud struggled last year. So, but I also think that was a little bit of an offensive design issue. They had a bunch of receivers get hurt. Nico Collins missed significant time. Tank Dell missed time. So we'll see what Houston can bring to the table this year. But I would put them in the up-and-comers as well. But Tampa Bay, I think, needs to be here. Possibly when it comes to Tampa Bay, is Baker Mayfield the guy to get him over the hump? Some people have various opinions on that, but I think that's the next step for Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles. Outside of that, you gotta just possibly look towards the future. One of the things that I do disagree with is I think the Chargers Broncos right there, they're in the right tier. Both got young quarterbacks. The only question mark is the only question mark I feel like they have essentially is Minnesota. Minnesota being last year what they were. They won all those games. Sam Darnold. No Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy is taking over. Can he duplicate the success that Sam Darnold had? That's just something that needs to be looked at. So I think for the most part, Minnesota, I would bump them down a tier. Potential Cinderellas, Chicago. Even though I'm skipping around on the graphic, I say no to Chicago. I think they're just bad, bad, bad. You can believe in Caleb Williams if you want to. I don't. Same thing with Kyler Murray. There was a report that I seen that an anonymous Cardinals scout said they wish they would have drafted Malik Neighbors instead of Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm sure that's going to upset some Buckeye fans if they seen it. Don't know if it's true. Anonymous sources, you know how that is. Maybe Marv will come out and flash this year, but we'll see. It's just one of those things, but I'm just not sold on Chicago. I think if any team has the potential Cinderella season, it could be New England. I think they'll be highly, highly improved. I'm not saying it's a huge criticism of Gerard Mayo. I don't think Mayo was put in a position for success. Rookie quarterback, no offensive line, no skill positions, no defense. That's just kind of where that was at. Also, I think the Rams need to jump up into the one breakaway as long as Stafford's healthy. They took the Eagles to the brink. If it doesn't snow in Philly, I think the Rams could have won the Super Bowl last year, to be honest, if Stafford stays healthy. San Francisco, I think that's over. They've committed so much money to Brock Purdy. I don't think Purdy is the guy that can get them over the hump. He took them to the Super Bowl, but they've lost a lot of pieces on defense, offense. Shanahan and John Lynch don't know what this season's going to hold. Christian McCaffrey, gigantic question mark, in my opinion, even though his yearly thing is that he's hurt a year, has a great year, hurt a year, has a great year. He's poised to have a good year. If CMC is healthy, that completely changes the dynamic out there. I think they'll be good enough on defense. But when it comes down to it, when push comes to shove on the Dallas front here, I don't think Dallas has a snowball chance in hell of making the playoffs. They are not better than the Commanders. They are not better than the Eagles. They might win more games than the Giants, but hell, who the hell knows at this juncture? I just don't think that the Cowboys are a serious franchise. They have the whole Micah Parsons thing floating out there. That's a huge distraction. Jerry likes to draw these contracts out. I know I've spoke about this at length. The whole Dak thing was an issue. Now it's Parsons. Jerry has drafted some great guys over his time as being owner / GM, but they just can't quite seem to get over the hump. I think their last best year was the year they lost to the Giants. They had 13 Pro Bowlers on that team and still couldn't get it done with Tony Romo. So those Super Bowl winning quarterbacks don't come around very often, if hardly ever, to be honest. So that is that. I think Dallas, if they win 8 games, I'll be shocked. I mean, they brought in George Pickens, but what is that really going to do for your franchise other than Pickens being a total complete crash out? So there is that. This graphic here is if you're listening on audio, it's the top 10 teams in week 1 since 2000. I think on this graphic, the last 10 are what says the most about each team. New England being at 6-4, I would say their last 4 they played, they probably didn't win. Philadelphia is good. San Francisco, like I said, 16-9 overall. Last 10, 6-4. So I would say the Packers 15-10, 7-3 in the last one. Couple of those Rodgers wins, couple of them losses. Kansas City is 9-1. I would say that's probably since Andy Reid took over. Tomlin 6-3, Harbaugh 7-3. So those are the teams that are really, really competitive week 1. If anybody's out there looking for betting advice, that's typically how it goes. But one of the last things before we jump into the 53-man roster for the Steelers is odds to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Travis Hunter, I'm not shocked that's 1,000 because I think on this list he has the most volatility. I'm really shocked that Ashton Jeanty is number 1. I think on this one it's probably, depending on if they have a decent year or not, I would say it's going to be Cam Ward. Running backs don't get enough love in the NFL anymore. Omarion Hampton is going to get robbed a lot, I believe, at the goal line. When it comes down to it, I think that they're going to use Najee Harris a lot when they can in short yardage. That's just how Harbaugh works. But I do think he may be 1,000-yard rusher this year because of how much they're going to run the ball in LA. Same thing with Jeanty. I think he's going to end up with a lot of yards. Don't know if he'll have the touchdowns to do it. I've seen some people out there talking in the betting world that they think Cam Ward could throw 25 touchdown passes this year, but don't know if he can break the record. Well, as long as they're fairly decent down there in Tennessee, I think the sky's the limit for Cam Ward. He's not getting talked about a whole lot. the 5th-round pick has been the talk of the town, and also Travis Hunter. So Travion Henderson, I know how Vrabel likes to run the ball. I just don't feel that Travion Henderson's going to get the carries and the touches. Got to stay healthy. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Just one of those big things here. But we'll hop into the Steelers 53 man. But first, if this is your first time checking out the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we have a college football show on this platform that's typically in the evenings. We do a lot of content on there as well. Hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this channel. That's one of our goals here before we put this show on its own channel. We're trying to get the other show monetized, and then we will spin this one off. But yeah, outside of that, we'll get to the 53 man. And also, if you want an alternative broadcast for tonight's game, Boise State USF, we will be doing that live. I believe that game kicks at 5:30. So we will have that for you. I'll be watching that and talking all things college football. If that's something you want to tune into, we'll be talking pretty much anything under the sun as far as football wise. Steelers 53 man. No real big shocks here. I do find it fascinating that Skylar Thompson made the 53 man because I thought he played well in the preseason. And I figured if they practice squatted him, he would probably get picked up by somebody for as well as he played. The other interesting one was they're carrying 4 tight ends / fullbacks here. Connor Haywood makes the cut. I don't know how. I think his playing time since they brought in Jonnu Smith is going to go down significantly. So there is that. I mean, obviously the Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, those were pretty much locks, I thought, to make the team. Scotty Miller getting some run here. He makes it. Roman Wilson after being out all of last year. Nothing really too crazy or shocking, I thought, on the offensive side of the ball as far as making the 53 man. Also, right here is the defense. I think Derek Harmon the Derek Harmon injury is going to be very interesting on how they work that out. Because you can't rush him back per se. You don't want to have a lingering injury, and that's just how that goes. And although I have my TV on the quad box, the two things that are dominating both things that have NFL coverage on right now is Micah Parsons and Shedeur Sanders. So take that for what that's worth. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. Let me get my pen here. Just going over some other notes that I took. Is anybody really shocked that they kept, like 9 linebackers? No, I didn't think so. I would say that the starters are going to be Patrick Queen, Highsmith, Watt, and Peyton Wilson. I think Peyton Wilson's going to have a big year this year. Just kind of my thing. I don't know how much Jack Sawyer is going to get moved in or rotated in. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Derek Harmon's sack total for the year, I'm going to put that at 3.5. If you disagree, I would like to hear your answer in the comments. Derek Harmon, 3.5 sack total. Just something that I was looking at. Also, I guess they're doing First Take at Norfolk State. Find that interesting. But Derek Harmon's sack total, if he ends up with 4 sacks, I think that's a pretty solid year. Him and Cam aren't really sack leaders. One of the bigger things is going to be Roman Wilson's. What is his production going to be? Can he be 1,000-yard receiver with Aaron Rodgers? He's another guy that I think the Steelers are leaning on really heavy this year. But with the um, addition of Jonnu Smith, I would like to see what his numbers total out at the end of the year. I think Jonnu's he could have a big year as well. Not to mention DK Metcalf. I think the Steelers have three. They have two large body receivers that can go across the middle with DK and Jonnu Smith, and then you have a guy to run the short crossing routes, intermediate. So I think that on offense, Arthur Smith is going to have a lot of things to work with, and then the Johnson kid, the running back out of Iowa. I think that he's going to have a major impact this year because I just don't think Jaylen Warren's going to be able to handle 25 carries a game. I think as the season goes on, I think the Johnson kid is going to get more and more touches going down the stretch at the end of the year. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't reverse roles by the year's end, to be honest. I get it. He's a rookie. Caleb Johnson's a rookie, but I just look at it and I think that he is more equipped to handle the NFL game physically, I believe, going forward than what Jaylen Warren is, because to me Jaylen Warren is more of a scat back out of the backfield. You can use him a lot in passing situations. Caleb Johnson is more of like a Najee Harris type, but I think he's more explosive than Najee, to be honest. Don't know how many people agree with that, but that's just my take on it. And then Jack Sawyer. A lot has been talked about him, I feel like, in the offseason. Jack Sawyer, one of the Will Howard's teammate at Ohio State. Jack is one of the people that has one of the most iconic plays in college football history. So we'll have to see how well he translates. After watching him, he didn't look the greatest, but I'm not going to say that he looked like he was a fish out of water. I think that he's going to need some time to adjust to the speed of the NFL. I felt like the game looked quicker than what he was ready for, to be honest. So, but I'm hoping Jack Sawyer could be a mainstay. He's a Pick North kid. I think that just blue collar Ohio kid. It's just kind of amazing how many great draft picks the Steelers get out of the state of Ohio that the Browns and Cincinnati pass on. That's just kind of one of the things that I'm looking at. Just going through the notes here to see if I missed anything. Also, Rashid Rice looks like he's going to get suspended 6 games, pending on what the commissioner decides to do with him. I don't know exactly what they're going to try to do, but I just feel like something there is going to, how do I want to put this? Something there is going to shake, and I don't think it's going to be in his favor. I get it. He plays for Kansas City. That's just something that's what it is. He had the hit and run. I think he's got to face it down there in Dallas. So there is that. Just skimming the old Twitter machine to see if we have missed anything. if there's any news that has broken. Going to check the Schefter and see what he's got reported. Justin Fields, also team captain in New York. Him and Garrett Wilson. The Steelers 10 minutes ago have signed Chuck Clark, and they signed an offensive guard to their active roster and placed Will Howard and Devontae Kent on injured reserve. I'm not shocked that they placed Will Howard on injured reserve, because I think that hand is legitimately broken and he's going to need some time to heal. And I also don't think that if they place him on the practice squad, he's going to get claimed. That's just what I'm looking at. And I also was looking at some things for the NFL draft coming up. They have the Steelers drafting a quarterback, so do with that what you will. Typically, the mock drafts for the Steelers are wrong all the way up until a couple days before the draft. They normally get it kind of right, but not typically. And then also Texans general manager, I'm reading from Schefter's Twitter. Texans general manager Nick Sirianni was a non-committal on whether they will play Joe Mixon in 2025. So leads me to believe that there's something probably going on there in Houston. So there is that. Also, at the end of the show, we had the Minnesota Vikings put it out. We had just a very horrific, violent incident that took place at a church in Minneapolis yesterday morning. Thoughts and prayers with those people. That's a really, really bad situation. So there is that. Also, Tommy DeVito released, picked up by the Patriots. I find that very kind of fascinating that Vrabes picks him up, but there's that. Don't believe there's anything else really breaking or pending or going too awful crazy. Real quick, I will be at the Monday night game when Pittsburgh plays Miami. If you're going to the game and want to say what's up, I will be there. I'll be around before the game, and don't know how long I'll be there after the game, but I will be around that area, Stage AE, all of that fun stuff. So if you are a fan of the show and want to come say what's up, I will tweet a picture out of what establishment I'm bellying up to, and I'll be there early if we can get some people that are going to be there. So there is that. I think we will resume Steel City maybe Monday morning. It's a big college football weekend. There's not a lot of stuff that's going to go on in the NFL. If there's something that major breaks, like just anything and everything, if something major breaks, I might fire the show up for that. But outside of that, I would plan on we might roll it Monday at noon, depending on what we have going on. But also, if you're a college football fan, I know Saturday, I think we're going to be streaming. We'll be streaming 4 TV windows. We're even most likely going to have the late night stream with Utah, UCLA, and Washington, Colorado State. Had to think for a second who they play, but we get it all kicked off. Texas, Ohio State on Saturday. That kicks off our noon coverage, and then we'll move to the 3:30 window, which will be which will be Alabama, Florida State, and also I'll have a guest on that one. Jeffrey Wright of 92.9 FM ESPN out of Memphis is going to join for a little bit, and then Richie's going to make an appearance on Clemson LSU at 7:30. So I'm going to be busy all day Saturday, and that is that. We're getting the weekend started right with UCF and Boise State. So we might see our first ranked team go down this year. But if you're a fan of the NFL only, I understand. But you can also watch football on Saturday too. Excuse me for that terrible mic etiquette. But I guess with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're a college football fan, I will see you later on tonight. And then we'll probably have Steel City going forward the rest of the year, probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times a week. Trying to look in to see if we can start getting a call-in show going. And then I think Friday, on Fridays, depending on when we can get the call-in show, we'll have 2 Steel City, probably 4 college football shows, and 2 to 3 Steel City shows. And then Friday's probably going to be open forum call-in show. So if you like that idea, hit the like and subscribe. But I think in the off season, Steel City might go down to twice a week because there's just nothing going on. But with that being said, I appreciate everybody. Hit the like and subscribe, and we will talk to you later tonight.